You want to go and get him on the phone?
Something went wrong?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Or you want to start the meeting
I'm
first?
starting the meeting. Okay, I'm gonna call this special meeting of the Board of Equalization of Oklahoma County to order. Today is May 4th, 2026. May the 4th be with you. It is 9:30 a.m. We have a full house. Mr. Brett Town,
Present.
Mr. Sellers,
Present.
and I'm Chair Thompson. And a notice of this meeting was properly posted on April the 29th, 2026. Today we have 7 items on our agenda. I'm going to take them out of order because we have one on the phone. And if I give that person the instructions, everybody will hear it. Otherwise, I got to repeat it when I get down to that person. Okay, so before we begin, item 1 on our agenda is the approval of our minutes of March the 23rd and April the 27th.
If there are no changes, I move approval of item number 1.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna start with BOE number 43.
Hello,
Hello, who's speaking, please?
Brad Williams.
Okay, hi, this is Ms. Thompson calling from the Board of Equalization of Oklahoma County. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling, Ms. Thompson.
Oh, sure, we're here to consider your item. And before I begin, let me make some preliminary instructions for everybody else in the room. We're taking you out of order since we did you on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the Board of Equalization, and what we're here to do is to determine what the fair market value of the property of each one of you would be. And you've had a preliminary in front of the assessor, whether it was in person or by phone. This is an appellate body, so we're not here to try this de novo, so to speak. And we will hear from you first. We will then hear from the assessor. Because this is your property, it's important to you, you get the last word. We will not make a decision today, but on Friday, we will announce our decisions. You will get in mail what the valuation is. We'll actually set the valuation. Either what you say, what they say, or somewhere in between. And because this is an appellate body, if you want us to consider something, it has to be something you already said to the assessor. If you have some new information you would like for us to consider, we will consider it if there's no objection by the assessor. We clear on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is BOE item number 43, the Bradley Williams Trust, address 6408 North Hillcrest Avenue, Nichols Hills. Your resident number is account number 169-577-220. My notes indicate that the assessor has valued your property at $1,977,500. You, however, would like to have us set the fair market value at $1,500,000. I should say to you guys that this is the valuation as of December 31st. 2025, not today's value. And if you want us to consider something, please don't tell us what you know happened in February or March of this year. The valuation cuts off as of December 30th. And we are not concerned with your taxes. I know that's at most in your mind. We are concerned with the fair market value, which is what a willing buyer and a willing seller can come to an agreement on as to what they would pay for the property up for sale. Okay, so Mr. Williams, tell us why you think your valuation should be $1,500,000, because I understand you had an appraisal done in 23.
Yeah, so the appraisal done in 23, I believe, well, we had a couple of, but the highest appraisal that we had was for 1205. That was pre the remodel that we worked on between 2023 and 2024. I asked when I saw the taxes for last year and then saw the recommended increase for this year, I asked our realtor that worked with us to pull all the 2025 comps in the neighborhood so I could look at that and evaluate whether the recommended increase was in line with what the neighborhood sales were. And if you looked at the median and the average in the neighborhood, it was much closer to that 1.5 number than the 1.9 number, which was why we entered the original appeal. When I spoke with the appraiser or the person at the assessor there at the county, informally, he referenced the report that he had. We talked through it. I explained the situation to him that although we had endeavored in an extensive remodel, a lot of it was just to bring the structure up to code, electric, plumbing, the structure needed a new roof. And so we had done an extensive remodel on part of the house, but not all of it. And that I felt like the fair market value of the house, if we put it on the market today, was closer to that 1.5 number than the 1.9 number. He kept referencing this report that he had, and I said, well, can I see it? He told me, well, my hands are kind of tied on this based on the recommendations that I got from the appraiser. So I have reviewed that, and I do think, I understand that the county has a difficult situation. They've got a lot of properties that they have to appraise, and it completely makes sense that you would take some comparable properties in the immediate area of our residents and say, this is what the sale price was. We have to take all that into account. I will say that a couple of those properties I'm familiar with. In fact, we looked at one of them ourselves. That was the property on Queenstown, and then also the property on Randall Road, which those sales prices are in the $600 per square foot range, which I do not believe at all that we could get that for our house. We have part of the square footage that's included in that 4152 is a detached mother-in-law suite, which you actually have to walk through the garage to get to. And although it's a nice feature, I don't think all square footage is counted completely the same. And we have not done any remodel on that whatsoever. That, and in addition to the fact that we still have quite a bit of work that we need to do on the outside of the grounds, and there are some pool issues that we're going to have to address, leads me to believe, having lived in the neighborhood in different residences for 20 years, that I don't believe that we could get 1.9 or $2 million for the house as is. We still have quite a bit of work that we need to do. It's going to take several years to complete, and we certainly intend to do that. And I do very much want that house to sell for $2 million one day. But today, I just don't believe that the fair market value of that home would fetch $2 million.
Let me ask you, did you make all of your improvements at once such that you had a permit pulled for a certain amount of money? Or did you just have them like the electrical 1 year and then maybe did the plumbing later?
No, we had a permit pulled because, frankly, the house, given the age of it and the code changes, wasn't livable. So we did all the electric and plumbing at once in the main structure.
Do you remember how much your permit was for?
I believe it was $600,000, but I'm going off memory.
Okay. All right. Can we hear from the assessor now?
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
What was your all-in remodel cost that you, because a permit is one thing, but sometimes it's a little lower, sometimes it's higher.
It was north of $500,000, but it wasn't $600,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. The Williams residence, we are located northwest at Northwest 63rd and North Penn. We have a year built of 1952 with an effective year built of 2006. This house was fully remodeled in 2024 from salvage value. We have it on as a good quality, 4,152 square feet. It was a 2023 purchase of $1,025,000. We have it as an unqualified sale. We have it as an inventory modification, but that's where we have it listed as. Was in our office. It's considered an unqualified sale. The 2026 value and notice of decision is at $1,977,500, which puts it at $476.28 a square foot. They are requesting 1.5, which would be at $361.27. I do want to point out that the 2025 value, last year's value, was $1,746,000, and the new construction value, because of what was added, was $1,451,203. That's what the data in our system gives the new construction value. The comps that were provided during the informal do support where it's at, and then I didn't do the informal, but I did some further research on it, and I kind of wanted to see if that's if we can support that, and I went ahead and looked at 4 other properties that were in Nichols Hills that were of same quality and similar age, and the value comes in at just over $2 million. And like I said, we're just staying in Nichols Hills. We don't go outside Nichols Hills because you're dealing with much greater adjustments and different economic factors. But based on the data that was provided during the informal and during looking at the research of it, we can support the current value of where it's at.
What was the reason you said it was an unqualified sale?
We have it as an inventory modification back in 23. There's a certain reasoning behind why the inventory modification makes it an unqualified sale, but we just have it as an unqualified sale.
What does that mean, an inventory modification?
I would have to do some research on that. It has something to do with the remodel.
So is that the remodel being extensive, going from complete salvage to good condition?
Correct.
So, and this new construction value that you mentioned, the 1,451, what does that mean? How did you come to that calculation?
That's something that's done behind the scenes that I have no control over. That's done through our sales team. Once all the numbers are tabulated into our system, it comes out to that number. And that's value that's added on to the taxable value.
From the salvage and the lot to that's basically you're saying if I put $600,000 in, I may come up with I may increase the value of that house to 1.2 million in this case.
Right, because what is added, typically on permit values, what is added will contribute more to the value.
And what are these pictures that you're showing? Is that related to
This
case?
was back in November of 23. The inside of the property, we had it down to studs, and anytime that's going on, that's automatically a salvage value of $5 a square foot plus the land value.
And did Mr. Williams provide any pictures of what it looks like now, or the damage, or what still needs to be updated, or anything like that? I didn't see anything.
No, we did not receive any of that.
Okay.
Anything else from the assessor's office?
At this current moment, no.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you have the last word, sir.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I think the comps and the reports that the assessor was using, I think some of them are kind of outliers when compared to the properties we have. I think if you look at all the comps across the neighborhood, it's a larger view, and there's probably some properties in there that aren't exact comps to our house, but I do think it captures the status of where we are right now, which is we brought this house basically from salvage to good condition, but there's still quite a bit to do. And so I think the valuation for our property, although I hope to get it up to that, you know, $400, $500, $600 per square foot range. It's just not there today, and it's going to take some years to get there.
Would you like me to take over?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Williams. We will consider everything that's been presented today, and then we will rule on Friday, and then we'll send you a notice after that, and you should receive it shortly, earliest part of next week. So thank you for appearing today.
Yes, I appreciate the board's time, and thank you for letting me appear by phone. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we are going to close out item number 5, BOE 43 at this time, and move back to the schedule on the agenda. This time we will hear item number 2, BOE number 46, Dustin Schmidt, address 2137 Northwest 25th Street, Oklahoma City, residential, account number R052558040. Mr. Schmidt, would you come forward?
Sir, before you get started, I was told I was on the agenda, and we were the first item on the agenda.
Am I looking at?
You're on the right one.
That's what Ms. Creed said in my email, that we would be the first one on the agenda. I just want to make sure. I don't mind if this gentleman goes first.
What's your name?
Erdos.
No, you're
You're-
third.
Second,
Right.
yeah.
You're second.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay, you heard the instructions earlier, or we'd like to hear from you why you disagree with the assessor's office and set your value at $389,000. The assessor began their fair market value assessment at $483,000 and then lowered it to $435,000.
Correct, yeah. I've mostly had typed this out and sent along, but this is pretty much my reasoning, so I'll read from this if that's okay. But you guys should have this as well. So we purchased the house in August of 2017 for $287,500, and it's a 3-bedroom house with 2 full baths. The floor plan does have some functional issues, as the downstairs bathroom can only be accessed through the downstairs bedroom. And at the time of purchase, the home had a 2-car detached garage with a non-habitable efficiency apartment in the back, so that garage is kind of falling apart. And then we've got a small basement that leaks when it rains. And then since the purchase, we've added a patio in the back, and in 2025, so last year, we tore down that garage and apartment that was non-habitable and built a new 1-car garage with an efficiency accessory dwelling unit. So in how much of this is relevant, you guys can tell me, but in 2022, they'd increased the market value of the assessor by 14.1%. And then again in 2023, they increased it by 14.8%. And then the last 2 years have been a little bit less, a little more, what I would probably call reasonable, and I think reflect what the market is actually doing. But I don't think that 29% increase in value in the Shepherd Historic District reflected what the market was doing at that time. So the Shepherd Historical Preservation District, I don't know how familiar everyone is with that area, but I think it's somewhat unique in that it's bound to the west by Shepherd Mall, the north by 30th Street, the east by Pennsylvania, and then the south by 25th. So we live on the furthest south street, and our street dead ends into the Shepherd Mall. And then to the south of our property is the commercial district at 23rd and Penn. So a bunch of Walmart, some other things, just directly south of that. So in my opinion, that the Shepherd district that we live in is quite different from the Cleveland Historical Preservation District that lies west of Shepherd Mall. And that's relevant because the assessor had pulled a couple of properties from Cleveland to use in our assessment. And typically, I think sales in that neighborhood of Cleveland are a lot higher than our neighborhood, are just typically higher. So in the last 12 months, there have been probably 2 sales that I would consider comparable to our house. 2208 Northwest 28 sold for $325,000. It's a little smaller in size than our house, but has an additional half bath that's more accessible and an attached 2-car garage, which I would consider superior to ours being detached. And then the other sale is 2105 Northwest 28th, which sold for $242,000. Now that was March of 2026. I heard some of your opening stuff were only comparing back to December, so news to me, but it is a newer sale here. That was one that I had originally looked at. So that condition is not quite as nice of ours. Also didn't sell for as much as ours. So several houses in the neighborhood that were listed for sale and haven't sold after an extended marketing time. 2217 Northwest 25th was under contract when I originally submitted our grid of comparable sales, and since that time that sale's fallen through. And then 2108 Northwest 25th was listed for a long time at $309,900. Never received an offer, and eventually the owner removed that from the market. Now using it as a rental, I believe. And then 2128 Northwest 25th has been for sale since last October and has had 3 price reductions, currently for sale for $359,900. So based on a lot of that and kind of looking at what our market is doing, the houses in our area, my opinion would be if I were to put our house in the market today, I would probably list it for $389,000 or so and hopefully get that out of it. So that's kind of my reasoning to bring down the assessment of ours. I just think it's more relevant to what our neighborhood and things are doing. So thank you.
I will say some of your comments on the increases during that time, of course, since COVID we did experience, but
Sure.
at 22 and 23, you're saying in your area, your values increased 28%. The county actually increased over 30% during that time. And that's a county average. So
Sure.
I understand what you're saying. Everybody experienced it during that. But,
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
any other questions?
I had one. You talked about the disadvantage of the configuration of the one bathroom downstairs being through a bedroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it like that when you bought it, or did you reconfigure it?
It was like that when we bought it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's hear from the assessor's office.
All right, so we are located at, Mr. Schmidt is located off of the northwest of Northwest 23rd and North Penn. We have an original year built of 1940 with an effective year built of 1990. There was a remodel done back in 2017 at 65%, so it was nearly a full remodel. Purchased in August of 17 at $285,000, $126.67 a square feet. 2,250 square foot, fair quality. The initial value this year was at $483,000 at $214.67. Lowered it down to $435,000 at $193.33, and some of that was based on the comps that were provided during the informal, three of which Mr. Schmidt did provide. As was previously mentioned, there was a detached garage apartment with extra concrete that was added, which gave a new construction value of $38,000. The original request we showed during the informal was $378,000, which puts it at $168 a square foot. I want to point out the last year's value was $456,500. In 24, it was $452,500. In 23, it was $446,500. But just based on the comps, which 3 of the 6 that Mr. Schmidt provided were used during the informal. That was provided during the informal.
Can you tell me which 3?
Yes, the 3, 2128 Northwest 25th.
Which one is that? I don't have the addresses on my sheet.
Comp number 3.
Comp 3, okay.
And then 2208 Northwest 28th Street, that is comp number 1. 2616 Northwest 25th Street is number 2. So basically the first 3 comps were the comps that we used from his analysis. And like I said, there are 3 that we could not use. 2 of them sold in 2020 and then 1 that sold in 26. But we feel like the value is in line, which we do agree that the value did need to be lowered based on the initial, because if I look at, because I didn't do the informal, so in doing some further research on this, I wanted to look at some properties that were in his neighborhood that were same quality, similar square footage, and I come up with a value of $449,000 for a median value. So I feel like we're in line with where he's currently at based on what we were lowered to, based on what we lowered it to.
Because you had 425 for the mean, so you're in between the mean and your median.
Did you take into consideration his argument about the districts, the Cleveland district versus the portion of the neighborhood that he was in? Was there any differentiation between those two?
Or would that just show up in the sales?
It would just show up in the sales. If there's any kind of adjustments that are made for the neighborhood, then there will be some adjustments made. Go down. Go. 2600. I think go up. Those are all considered the same neighborhood based on the comps that we use. What we consider to be the same neighborhood market area.
But maybe not the same historic district or something like that.
Perhaps so, yes, but that we don't differentiate necessarily in this case.
Anything else? Anything else, Warren? All right, sir, you have the last word.
I think probably the last point that you guys hit on might be the big one that for us, just the differences in the areas of where some of the comps were pulled. I think the 2 and 4, which are kind of over in that other district, Cleveland, which, like I said, tends to be a higher priced district. Those I felt like were kind of pulling up some of these comps from our area. So
Did you say it was comps 2 and 4 were the two that were outside of your district?
I'm just looking at this map here. So yeah, I believe 2 and 4 are over in that Cleveland historic district, and then we're over on that other side. So like I said, we're kind of fenced in into that little area by some of the other commercial area towards the south and then to the east and all that. So I think that's probably a more desirable area over there in Cleveland, and I think that's partly why that's priced a little higher. He mentioned that it explained to me how they pull those. We go within a mile, et cetera. But I think there's a big difference in that mile between where we're at and where some of these are being pulled from.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in today, and we will roll on this on Friday and then get you something first part next week.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I can pick it up.
Okay.
So well now, Mr. Erdos, would you come forward? BOE number 41.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. This is 801 Northwest 7th, and the number is 013203-424. Okay, my notes indicate that the assessor has this valued at $1,684,000, and that for 25 and 24 it was 427, more than 27,000, I should say, 1,684,000. You would like to have us valued at $1,000,001, and I have here that you bought this
6 years ago.
July 1, 21, built in 23. So was this did you buy a house and tear it down and then build another one? So what you paid $427,000 for a lot?
Yes.
Okay, is it one lot or two? One.
Actually, it's part of one.
Part of one.
The
Okay.
back of it was carved out by the apartment building behind us before
Yes.
we purchased the
What's the
lot.
square footage of the lot?
Okay.
100 by 40, I think. I'm not for sure. That
Okay.
was on your map, or the county assessor's map.
So you bought for $427,000, and what was your construction permit?
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Just to discuss that.
Okay.
It was 2.5.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you all for listening to me. We're not asking for a windfall or bargain on what we owe in property taxes, but what we're asking for is fair and just assessment of that value.
Sure.
And from the beginning, I don't think we've been treated fairly by Mr. Stein's office. I asked for an in-person hearing. I didn't get an in-person hearing.
Okay.
I asked a few questions when the assessor called me on April 8th. about why the comparable sales that are listed on our page weren't used. And then after a couple more questions, the assessor determined that that was the informal hearing and concluded it. And we were supposed to have an in-person hearing on April 15th. So I was denied what I think is due process. I was then ambushed with 6 comps. What was interesting is the assessor told me that they did not use the comps that are listed on our page. But yet, in fact, they did use one of the comps, and they used it twice. The first time, the value was one amount. The second time, the value was the same, was an even higher amount. Basically, what the assessor did was they picked the highest priced comp that was on our page and used it twice to come up with what they thought was a comparable fair market value. Also, I was asked about the cost and the building permit. The statute that Mr. Stein has on his website on how fair market value is determined is 68 OS section 2829 on mass appraisal methodology. Nowhere in that statute is the cost or estimated cost of a builder when he submits a permit considered a criteria. Nevertheless, our building permit was substantially higher because of the cost of materials at the time it was constructed, and because of the fact that at one point we had on what is now a deck an elevated swimming pool. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on concrete, structural engineering, designs, and support, and we ultimately 86'd it for economic reasons, and that is why the cost is as high as it was, coupled with the cost of structural materials, which were 60% higher than what we initially thought and budgeted. So cost really has nothing to do with the value of this house. I mean, it would have been like if I put solid gold fixtures in my entire house, it might look flashy, but spending $200,000 on fixtures isn't going to raise the fair market value of the property. So I don't think Mr. Stein's office followed the very statute it's supposed to follow, because the one thing they seem to have ignored in this case is this isn't your typical neighborhood. This is an area that's zoned commercial, multifamily. I mean, right across the street from us is a completely renovated office building. Diagonally from us is the Valor Hospital. Behind us is an apartment complex. And more importantly, right next to us are 2 abandoned lots that have these code enforcement violations on a regular basis because they don't keep them up. And next to that house, next to those 2 lots, is a dilapidated house that probably should have been condemned. And we have people sleeping on the porch. I mean, this isn't Nichols Hills. So obviously location wasn't really taken into account when the assessor came and made the assessment. We've had to put in erosion control fences on the neighboring lot at our own cost and sod it so that the erosion won't destroy the sidewalks that the MAPS taxpayers paid for because it keeps flooding. And yet the property owner has been in and out of bankruptcy. It's now in foreclosure. I mean, this has been going on for several years. So to give us a Nichols Hills kind of square footage assessment is probably not in accordance with the statute either. The other problem I have, that we have, my wife is here too, Kim, is that the newer home across the street from us, which is 4,600 square feet, has a taxable market value of $100,000 less than what the assessor assessed us. I mean, it's a 4,600 square foot house. We're a 2,900 square foot house, and yet this county assessor has our house assessed at $100,000 more than that property. And so it's a 3-year-old house.
The one across the street?
Down across 3 houses over, same block. Okay, the building directly across the street from us is the office building I mentioned, and that's a revenue creating piece of property, and it's twice as big as us, and it's assessed at $1 million, almost half of what our property is assessed at. So how what happened, in my opinion, when I tried to talk to Mr. Martinez, is basically the county assessor's office cherry-picked properties. And then if you look at the comps, I mean, comp 2 is also comp 4. They're the same property. And yet comp 2, they come up with a sale adjusted value of 1.9. And then on comp 4, it's $2 million. So either they're manipulating the data to get the desired result, or their software does it. Because you can't have the same house listed twice as comps and have a completely different sale adjusted value. And to use these are the two highest price that were listed on our page. None of the other homes on our page, none of the other homes on our block are even considered. And so, I mean, essentially, they're pricing us as the most expensive house in this entire area. If you look at comp 1 is 1,000 square feet larger than ours, and yet the sale adjusted price is 1.1. So what happened from looking at the assessor's computation, what they did is they took what they estimated our property of being worth 1.4, I believe. No, let me
1.6.
Yeah, but what they did, if you look at the second page, what they did is they took what they thought our property, the home, was worth 1.2, and then added in what we paid for this lot 6 years ago. And that's not an acceptable method of coming up with a fair market value. That would be like every other property owner. You go back in time and you come up with how much they paid for the land, and then when they build on it, you just pick a number and then you add back that amount of land. That really doesn't come at the fair market value. Now, I will be frank with you. We overspent and overbuilt on this house. We're probably never going to get back what we put into it. But that shouldn't be in it, because this was going to be our retirement home. Except that perhaps Mr. Stein's going to tax us out of it over the period of time that we plan to live there. So the point being is fair market value should have been what's on our street and what are the assessed adjusted taxable market on the very same street, and not simply picking homes that, for example, there's one home that they use that is completely on the opposite side of downtown. It's the 36 Northeast 7th Street. Even though it's smaller, the price is lower than ours. I mean, it's not a comparable area. It's over there by the hill on Walnut. Yeah. So they go clear over there, and that's not indicative of fair market value. And we're just asking for fairness in this, and I don't think we've been treated fairly by Mr. Stein's office.
Let me ask you this. This just did a straight mathematical
Yes, ma'am.
calculation. So with nothing on your property, the valuation of the land was $427,000. You want us to be at $1,000,001. So you're basically saying the house that you built is about $600,000.
It's not 1.8. I don't think the fair market value of it is.
But you see what I just did.
I understand what you're saying.
So do you think your house is only worth $600,000? What you put in and put on that lot was only about $600,000?
I think it's worth as much as every other house on that block that's the same square footage.
Yes.
Which is 1.1. That's the average of every house on that block.
Gotcha.
Okay. If we were foolish enough to spend all our money on a house that we don't plan on ever selling, then I don't think that should inure to the benefit of the county assessor's office. I mean, you know, if I drop a Corvette motor into a Chevy Vega, that doesn't make the Vega worth.
I have a Chevy Vega, please.
I had
3 speed, no air.
I had one too growing up. I had a 3 on the floor. But dropping a Z06 motor in is gonna make it even better. It's more expensive.
I mean, I really did.
That's my point. We just want to be treated the same as everybody else on that block. That's all we're asking for. And not this cherry pick of the county assessor used to assess our property. The other thing is, this methodology that they use is mass appraisal, but you have to also take into account the characteristics of this area. We live right by the main fire station. We live right down the street from the hospital.
And there's a big,
So-
big church
Yeah, and
on class. or
everybody after every Thunder game sees drag racing down Sixth Street is
That's
cool.
correct.
So we have to deal with all the urban kind of stuff that you don't deal with in Quail Creek or Nichols Hills and stuff. And we came down there because we wanted to live in downtown in the central area. We understood that, but that doesn't mean that it's everybody's cup of tea and therefore translates into fair market values. That's all I'm asking.
Sure.
Okay?
Now, did you provide comps as well? Because I saw a separate
I
list of comps.
provided from their page the assessed taxable market value of the office building is
That's what
twice
you
as
pulled off the
big.
assessor's website.
Yeah, and the house is 3 doors down. That's 50% larger than us. I didn't do a sales analysis because the house is 3 doors down. That was built from the ground up. It's never been on the market. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Mr. Erdos, I didn't do your initial informal, but I was looking at your form that you filled out. Were you not given the option to come in?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't.
No, you cut me a little slack here. I'm trying to help you out here.
Okay.
Can we make a recommendation to cancel his, to where I want to meet with, we can meet with him in person?
We can continue his.
I don't think that's necessary.
Well, you weren't given the proper.
Let's just give him the option. He can choose at this point whether he wants to take up your offer or not.
Okay, because you weren't given, because it said on your form that you wanted to protest in person, and I feel like we should honor that. So if you wanted to meet with us again,
I don't know if that will change your mind. But,
well, again, Mr. Martinez is the one who did the informal.
right.
So it wouldn't be him doing the informal this time. It would be us having to relook at it and trying to. I said there's no guarantees on anything, but you do get the respect of the due process because you did put on your form protest in person and you weren't. That wasn't honored. So would you like to meet outside of here?
I mean, then we have to come back.
There's no guarantee. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
When you say
Well,
there's no guarantee, are you saying you guys would reconsider your position?
well, let Mark pretend like you didn't make that offer and tell him how you came up with your. There's a median of 1,787,000 plus and a mean of 1,743 plus, and so you're below both your median and your mean.
Right.
Okay, we frequently have this issue come up when we have our hearings where people will look at the assessor's page on the website. If I misspeak, Mike can correct me. That is not a picture of comps in the true sense of the word comps. It's just a reflection of what's sold in the area.
That's correct.
Okay, when they present comps, they actually do an analysis of what they think are like properties, like valued, like is it fair, is it excellent, or is it average condition, and that kind of stuff. So,
And they also do adjustments.
and then they do adjustments. So I understand that when people look at the assessor's page, they sort of think that's like the Bible, and it's not, if that made sense to you what I just said.
Right.
Okay.
But then when they get up with these numbers and they start, I mean, this is why I went to law school because I stunk at math, and so they start in stats.
Well,
and
I did
stuff,
both, and I did
all
good
those
in law
squiggly-
school and math.
all those squiggly numbers,
My
they mean
bacon.
something to the assessor's office, but to the common taxpayer, they really don't mean anything. So if I'm
Right.
gonna look at squiggly numbers in his office, I might as well look at squiggly numbers now. But
Sure.
I mean, the thing about the assessor is they don't really, I mean, I don't even know if they went out and inspected the property, or they would have seen that that property next to us, which they have assessed at $395,000, is in foreclosure, and it was actually professionally appraised at $250,000, and they've got it assessed at $390,000, and so they're basically just adding 40%.
It may not be on the rolls yet. Sometimes when it's vacant property, and then it has to get to a certain point before it actually hits the rolls. Just tell me how. Explain to me how you can tell, Mike, from looking at your file there, how you arrived at the 1,687,000.
Okay. I mean, these were the comps that were best decided on to support the current value of Mr. Arrow's property. These were pulled by our sales analyst and our sales team because this is a very unique area. I mean,
Yes.
there's nothing. There might be some homes on the street that could be similar in style that may be compared to, but may not necessarily be compared to because we're dealing with Mr. Erdo's property is excellent quality. It's the highest quality of house you can have. And there could be some properties that are fair, good, average, very good, that are going to draw huge adjustments. Now, I understand that we are pulling all sorts of comps that are of different quality and all that. And like I said, I'm not the one that did the informal. Everything is all over the place, but with his house, it's rather unique. We're not going to find comps that are going to be easily automatically compared to his. So we're trying to find what we can that best suits the value based on what he's for his property.
And one of the comps is on the hill.
Yes.
And how far away is that?
It's
Mileage wise.
it's over there.
I mean, I know where it is.
Right.
2 miles?
Approximately.
The assessor's office has .884.
0.84 miles.
I guess
That's less than
take a
mine.
lime scooter, but
Okay.
But again, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. If this is up to you, I didn't do the informal. You did put on your form protest in person. You weren't given that respect.
Would you choose different comps, Mike?
I'm not sure because I would probably so. I mean, I need to do some. We have to do some research on our own.
No,
There's-
my research showed that 4 of the comps that he provided from the assessor's website are included in your comps.
Okay.
But one of them was from like August of 22, a sale.
Right. And
Which would be at the margin of
Yeah.
acceptance.
which if we can sometimes go back at least 4 years for when it comes to
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to
Appraisals.
find. good
Yeah, and
And
comps.
that area is gonna be odd because you have some never improved properties. You have a lot of vacant lots. I think they even had to have a variance, I'm kind of familiar with that area, to allow even that style of homes to be built over there. So, I mean, I'm.
biggest
extremely
problem
familiar
is
with
they
that
use the
area.
same comp, the same house twice.
which I don't agree with that.
I agree.
I don't agree with that.
That was a complete fallacy.
I don't agree with that. I get your frustration with that. I don't agree with that.
Do you think it would make a difference if you only used it once?
Probably so, because sometimes you can have the same property that sells, like we're having in this one, where one will sell for a certain value,
Yeah.
and then it'll be sell for a much higher value later. And we'd rather use the one that's sold more recently.
Well, he's not taking you up on your offer, and I do understand what you did. I would like to know though, could you make a calculation if you drop that comp being used a second time and let us know what that is? Because that's
Yeah.
probably what we're gonna do is drop it.
Probably
We-
not
do-
here at the table, but
Comp
can
4.
you do that? You could.
We're
do
doing
that.
it right now.
Okay.
I
And
make
it
an
is the
offer of
most
compromise,
Okay, what's your offer?
1.3.
Okay. They're looking at
They're looking
pulling
at
that
pulling
out.
that out. Okay.
If we take that out, we come out to be, what did you recommend?
1.3.
What did you come out to?
We come up to 1,366,000. We'll honor his offer.
1,000,000.
So we have.
Wait a minute, are we
Hang on, hang on.
366 or 3?
One
What
three.
are we?
Well, I just let you know the value that we came up with. It's close enough to what he's asking for. So
A flat 3?
Yes.
Wait, so by agreement of the parties, am I correct that by agreement of the parties, the fair market value of BOE number 41 should be set at 1,300,000?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay,
No, but quit, stop talking about my baby.
all right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
apologies again to you.
So we're gonna close BOE number 41 and open the hearing on BOE number 42, which is 12 Springs Mall.
We have one for residential.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, it's in.
This is gonna be interesting. All right.
Now, I think they came in a little bit late, so I don't know if they heard all the instructions.
Yes, we
He
did.
did,
right
he
few
did.
minutes. Oh, okay. Give me a
Oh,
minute.
so did you,
They walked in a few minutes late after.
wait a
you
minute, so how many do we have left after this one? 1 or 2?
You have 2 after this one.
Quiet.
How many are residential? They're both residential?
One more res, one more commercial after this one.
Which one is residential?
The very last one.
The BOE, item number 7.
That's okay, they're here. Sorry, y'all got zigzag. Okay, so,
Redo the instructions.
no, he heard them. You were here, right?
No, I was not
Came
actually.
in a few minutes late.
Which portion?
The beginning where
instructions.
the instructions that this is an appellate review and will accept new evidence if the assessor doesn't. You heard all that.
We were good.
And we will decide on Friday and then send this,
Okay.
our decision in writing.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, so but for the record here, this is Cool Springs, right?
Yes.
BOE number 42, and it's account number R110111000. I said that correct, yes. And it's 2501 West Memorial Road, and the assessor has the valuation set at $49,647,000. You, however, would like for us to set the valuation at $38,100,000.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Before I start, we're gonna be peeling back the onion in regards to the, kind of the metrics and performances of the mall.
Yes.
So I just wanna, provide that. I'm not sure if you've heard mall valuation before, but there are some
Yes.
nuances to that. So,
Yes.
just wanted to put that
This
out there
one's gonna
before
be
I start.
odd from you though, because it seems like I'm not sure you own it all, but go ahead.
Right, okay, so
It's-
starting on page 3 of our presentation, we've laid out the description of the property in our executive summary. The owner of record is Quail Springs Mall LLC. It includes the inline tenants as well as the Round One, the H&M, and the movie theater. These are the tenants that roll up to this parcel number that is under appeal. The property is built in 1980, renovated in 2011. We're showing a land size of 28.06 acres. The net leasable area that we're showing under this parcel is 425,354 square feet. We've used the income approach to value to come up with our opinion of value on the appeal, which was $38,100,000. About 89.57 per square foot. The assessor's all-in valuations at $49,647,000 square feet, or $116.72 per square foot. At the bottom of page 3, we do highlight the parcels that are excluded from this appeal.
Yes.
There are several parcels that are separately owned, or there are parcels that are not part of our opinion of value. Page 4 through 10 are photos of the interior parcel, or the interior mall. I'm not sure if this is aligning. I'm following your screen. I'm not sure if this is aligning with the presentation.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. We have it.
We have.
Okay,
We
I
have
just
the
want to
pictures.
make sure that we're on the same.
We just don't necessarily have it all in
Yeah.
the same
Oh,
order.
okay. So we just provided photos of the interior
I
space.
do recall seeing those photos.
Yeah.
so.
We have a tax parcel map that just shows all the parcels that make up the mall, with ours being the one under appeal, which is just the inline and the Round One AMC.
And just for clarity, is there an understanding of when we talk inline
Yeah.
stores?
Well,
So,
I
like,
do.
if I can, okay, so an inline
The anchors
store,
are not included.
you're
Correct.
exactly right. Inline stores are those small stores that you come to walk down the mall. They live off of the lifeblood, if you will, of those anchors that draw people in, and they are interconnected to them because that's so when you hear inline sales, inline stores, and how they're performing, that is what we own. We don't necessarily even own a lot of anchor stores and those out parcels. So then when you hear us
That's
speak,
odd. Sometimes you do.
very seldom actually.
Very seldom.
Very seldom. Usually the big storage boxes are owned by that particular.
Dillard's, JCPenney's, and such. They have their own ownership.
And in fact, usually there's what they call a co-tenancy clause.
That's
If you
correct.
lose one of those inline stores or small stores either can vacate
Yes.
or we actually have to pay them money.
Right.
This part of that contract. We guarantee them to be there, even though we don't own them. We can't under control. If a dealer says, hey, I'm moving out, there's not a lot we can do. It's their store, their box, they own it. Sorry.
Oh, no, no worries. You know, now that we've kind of getting a sense of, the
No, wait a minute, and
description.
who left? Didn't some of the pennies?
Macy's.
Macy's.
Yeah, at one point, but now that's Valmar, which is not part of the.
Right, okay.
So what left when Lifetime Fitness,
With
Lifetime
Lifetime's a
Fitness, when they
separate-
developed that?
Yes.
it was
That's
separate.
this whole separate building behind it.
Yeah. So what you see here is the site plan, which is all the tenants that are actually under this parcel.
That's correct.
Right. So that this is I know that it's a little small there, but that looks like the food court.
Yeah.
But the other site plans on the prior pages make up the lower and upper lease plan
And the
essentially.
theaters are part of the ownership, the theater.
Yeah, the theater is part of it. Yeah. But I would like to turn your attention to something that is what we really call the health chart of the property. It's our occupancy cost and heat map summarization. So what that is, tenant occupancy costs are the expenses that a tenant or occupant of a property incurs in addition to their base rent when leasing a commercial space. For malls, that would typically include common area, maintenance, property taxes, HVAC, and utilities. There's a correlation between retail sales volume and occupancy costs. It's our industry mall standard that inline tenants should allocate approximately 10 to 15% of their total retail sales toward covering these occupancy cost expenses. When those costs surge beyond 15% of that threshold, is a cause for concern as landlord and observing those tenants, potentially indicating those tenants are grappling with challenges meeting their lease obligations. Furthermore, if occupancy costs expand past 20%, it's a critical sign that tenant failure or closure may be imminent.
How much of their income activities do you get to see? So
Only
do you know, or they tell you that they're coming?
No, there's some tenants do report sales,
Okay.
and that's how we determine, based on their sales volume at the end of the year and what their cost to occupy that space is. What is that threshold?
Okay.
Typically it's 15%, and 15% is risky.
Yes.
Anything above 20%, then you're getting to a sense of that tenant can afford to lease space in our property.
If it's possible, can you turn to page 18 on the screen of our presentation, please?
So this is
Keep going up.
right. So this is
Keep
out of
going up.
order. This is out of order, I think.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, this is not.
This is not our order.
This is
Yeah,
not-
I'm trying
this
to
is-
find that.
This is not the
Do you have a
presentation.
hard copy of it?
Yes, I do.
Fine.
I
think it's critical
this
for
is-
the board. to
This
be
is
able to
just
see this.
important that we share that because
They
this.
can pull this. I didn't bring
Yeah.
that. I saw mine.
Yeah, the screen is not correlating to what we shared. So right now I'm on page 18. Yes.
Page 18 is the
Right.
cover, and then goes to page 19, is that picture we're talking about with the heat map?
We need
Yes.
another copy for the assessor's office. Do you have another
I,
You can have my copy. Yes, please. You okay?
Okay.
You good? Yes. By the way, while you're looking,
Mhm.
did you really drive a Vega?
70 paid $2,448 in December 1975 to do my student teaching in Minnesota. I had 3-speed, no air.
I had a 4-speed over in the Astra, the General Motors
Oh,
Pontiac's version, exact same
Oh.
car. I missed that car.
Right.
Sorry, but
That's all right.
I'm a car guy, and I love having it back. Anyway, sorry.
So back to our occupancy cost and heat map conversation. So on page 19, you'll see this is the lower level lease plan, and it's color coordinated
Yes.
for you help you understand which tenants are at risk or would fall in these buckets. So I would say green is good, yellow average, orange risk, red 21% above is closure is imminent. Anything that you see in a darker gray shade are vacant spaces. And then anything that is blank, those are tenants that are not reporting their sales. Some tenants do not participate in that. Page 20 is the upper lease level plan, same dynamic. Page 21 is the food court. As you can see, pretty much all food court tenants are at risk or they're vacant.
And for us, as mall owners, the sign of health is if your food court is floundering, it's because there's not enough foot traffic, and it's a sign of things to come. It's really a prognosticator of what's coming down the pipe. And if you look at the heat map from page 20 and from 21, you'll notice there's dark stores. There's a lot of dark stores in the sense that they're closed out. There are no lights on at all. And then there's other large stores and other stores that are red. Like he said, it's imminent closure. I call it the fish flop. It's where the fish has been caught, put up on the bank, it's dead, it just doesn't know it yet.
Is 21 the second floor?
That's the
Food court.
food court. Yeah.
And then you'll see the AMC theater obviously is at high risk. Movie theaters are a tough space to be in today.
Right.
Not a good business. And the problem with it as a mall owner is what do you do with that space if it goes dark? If they vacate, what are you gonna put in there? What are you gonna put in there?
Put in pickleball, putting in
Yeah,
pickleball court.
We're trying. They're trying to get flooded out. By the way, I love pickleball, so I'm all for that.
I'm excited.
Count me in. Count me in.
A lot of capital spent for those type of entertainment centers that
Yeah.
we see. We do try to do that. You know, we see even a vacant anchor. We do try to, you know, lease that space up. You know, Brookfield is been known to try to invest a lot of capital into properties that way. So on page 22, what I did here was that I captured all those tenants that you see on the previous 3 pages into this chart that explains, you know, okay, what is this pertain to as far as, you know, at risk on a per square foot basis, right? So, and these are all tenants reporting sales over the last 12 months. And so the open square footage of those tenants that are between 15% and above at occupancy cost was 185,566, of which of a total of 333,210 of those tenants, of open tenants reporting sales over the last 12 months. So what that just says to you is, you know, almost 56% of our tenants that are reporting sales at Quail Springs malls is at risk.
Yeah, and I just add, if you're at risk, and frankly, more importantly, are imminent closures.
And that would be 15%. That is occupancy costs above 21%.
These are your 25 numbers.
Yes, sir. Year end 25.
Just how does it look versus 24? Because we keep hearing there's a trend in return to malls.
Well, we can actually go. We don't have the 24 metrics for this appeal, but we can show you a 3-year trend of overall how the property has been performing, and that's coming up in the next slides.
And just to answer your question on a global basis, we all operate malls nationally, and of course, there's not a sales comp in the immediate market, right? That's the whole nature of a mall. You know, you can't really compare them to a strip; they're not the same. Malls are either doing well or they're dying. There's no third fork. Nobody's just holding their own. And it's really a question of type of mall that seems to be the biggest driver. This is a traditional mall. Things you saw built from anywhere from the late 50s to mid 80s. Okay. What people are moving towards now is what they call a lifestyle mall or lifestyle. I'm saying it right. Lifestyle mall. Think of an open air mall that makes you feel like you're on your old hometown main street. I think the American public misses that intimate feel of being able to go to their hometown and yet still have the convenience of a mall. But the idea of walking down this big enclosed 1980s structure, people are not returning to that. The malls that we see nationally that are doing well are ones that either are that lifestyle or have incorporated a piece of that, where you can walk out of the mall and you kind of feel like you walk into a very nice main street that's very lively and vibrant. Those are the two types of malls. Unfortunately, this mall falls into the old style mall.
Do you own the Legends in Kansas City?
We do not.
No,
Okay.
We do not.
Would you put Penn Square in that same category?
I'm not familiar with Penn Square.
Penn Square Mall?
Mm-mm.
So you're not from here?
No, we're from. I'm from Chicago. It's from Denver.
Okay. So, and we, by the way, we are not third-party consultants. We are employees of,
Yeah.
of
I
ownership.
was trying to think of a mall in Chicago like Penn Square. Okay.
So moving on, page 23 through 20 or 26, I believe, is our annual trend analysis and mall classification. So on page 24, we provided metrics that we see is very important as to the performance of the center. Going with tenant sales per square foot, these are inline tenants that are less than 10,000 square feet reporting sales over the last 12 months. So in 23, the tenant sales were $307 per square foot, 24 down to 303 or about 1.3% decrease in change. 25 down to $293 per square foot. That's a 3% decrease from year end 24. And then in the last column, you'll see there that's a total change from 23 to 25, almost 5% in tenant sales decreasing in that time period. We talked about occupancy costs. We've averaged out the overall occupancy costs for the tenants reporting sales. From 23 to 24, occupancy costs actually went down a point and a half. In 25, it's about 18%. Relatively stable as far as occupancy cost percentage on average across the property. The next metric is total occupancy. Just really focusing on vacancy more so than anything. So vacancy year over end change from 23 to 2024, 19.7%. So there was a bit of a increase in vacancy, as you can see, from 39,933 to 47,820. That did improve a bit in year end 25 to about 41,089. That tells us that we're probably backfilling a lot of spaces with short-term tenants to make sure that occupancy continues to go up, because we don't want our anchors to what we call co-trigger a what do they call
Co-tenancy.
it? Co-tenancy clause. Thank you. Where they would dictate their lease agreements with us. So we have to maintain a certain occupancy level.
And so what we'll do is, when you see one of the stores vacate, we'll make a smoking good deal to someone who wants to come in with, say, a Halloween store, right? It's a one time. We're going to put them in there because we're much better off. We'll actually be losing money on that tenant in the sense of, if they were standalone, you'd never do that business model.
Right.
But it's better than lights being off.
Right.
For multiple reasons. The other problem is, when you walk down a mall and it starts to feel hollow because there's so many stores that are shut off, it's like a bad fungus. It just feeds on itself and grows. You've got to do whatever you have to do to keep someone in that space, and if we can.
And exactly. So we also point out what our inline permanent vacancies are. These are the tenants that are are
good
our blood life, essentially. Those are the ones that have the longer term leases in place. And as you can see, year end 2025, that vacancy is almost 21%. So that's factoring physically vacant, and then plus our short term tenants, which are those tenants that we're trying to backfill the spaces with on 1 to 2 year deals. And overall, if you look at inline perm vacancy, 23% increase over the 3 year time period. Another very important thing to highlight Company NOI, that's the overall operating income for the center. And our financials capture all aspects of the revenue and expense streams for the property, not just the parcel that's under appeal. And as you can see, NOI is down 15% from 23 to 24, and an additional 12.5% from 24 to 25, 26% over the 3-year term. So this mall is moving into the wrong direction.
This bears out what we're saying about the short-term leases. Even though you're seeing it on that heat map, there are stores in trouble, this type of thing, that we are trying to lease up spaces on these short-term. Don't be deceived. The bottom line is, for all of us in any kind of income-producing property, what's it bring home at the end of the day? Is it making money or losing money? And this thing has slid 25% over the last 2 years, or 3-year span. A year in 23, 24, 25. And the trend is unfortunately, we don't see a turnaround coming in 26. There's nothing that's indicating so far that anything's better on the horizon right now for that mall.
Is there something that triggered you all deciding to file an appeal this year versus last year?
We just the NOI. The NOI, look at it drops from 10.4 down to 8.8, and then now we're at 7.7. So that really gave us a sense of this value needs to be looked at again, or looked at. I don't believe we have filed an appeal. Maybe in 2021 or 2, we did work with the assessor's office for COVID issues and challenges, thinking that we would recover. We have not rebounded.
Right. And if you'll notice, if you look towards the bottom, which I'm sure Mike's going to cover, you'll see that we're still investing small. Part of the reason we didn't file last year, we were hoping that the 23 investment, we put almost over $750,000 into the mall. We were hoping that would flesh out additional revenue and help this mall recover. It did not, so that capital spend dropped to $286,000 for a year. There's been a recommitment to this mall, trying to recover this mall, and now we've jumped that clear to $1.49 million, which, by the way, just as a sideline, these malls bring in income besides just the employees and the people that rent space. It's also for those construction workers and those type of people. We're spending this money to put into this, trying to keep this mall alive. But I got to tell you, at some point, the rubber has to hit the road. You can't keep investing if your income keeps dropping 10, 12, 15% a year in NOI.
Into my colleague's point, if you look at year-end 25, total ordinary capital, that's deferred maintenance. Those are things that we have to invest in to fix up the property. $1.2 million. That's because of the age of the asset. There's a lot of, issues with the surface, paving and roofing and that sort of thing. We don't have a breakout of that, but that was a substantial amount compared to the other 2 years.
The rough part about those the reason why it brings that to your attention is that total ordinary capital is not going to drive income. If you look at how much more we're spending, it's not because we're hoping to drive. That's just, you've got to do it for health and safety. There's not a choice. That or you're going to have to just close doors, one of the two.
And on page 25 and 26, we just provide support to the metrics that are shown on page 2024. Inclusive of the appeal. Our sales and then occupancy costs. So now we're getting really to understanding what classification is this mall. So on page 27, we've used Corpaz Realty Advisors mall classification methodology. And if you're not familiar with Corpaz, Mr. Corpaz is a premier valuation expert for regional malls across the country. So he's a very reliable source. He publishes this methodology. The most recent one was of 2023, but you don't need every year to publish this. Things don't change that much for when it comes to malls. So he provides this 2-step process. His first step, comparing the inline mall sales generated by the mall stores less than 10,000 square feet in the classification survey below. So What I've done is I've highlighted what the subject's tenant sales per square foot less than 10,000 square feet was $293 per square foot. Mr. Corpraz suggests that is in range with a Class C property. And we don't disagree on that. The second step in his classification is either, pretty much a reason to increase or decrease that that classification of what we're saying is a C mall. Of the 9 reasons, we do not find any reasons to increase the mall's classification. However, we do find several reasons for even decreasing it further.
Below the C.
Below the C. And what we've highlighted is consistent decline in one or more of the following: occupancy, inline store retail sales, net operating income, cost of occupancy above acceptable industry ratios, not a dominant mall within the trade area, inline permanent tenant occupancy below 85%. We're at 80. High level of temporary short-term tenants, or those whose rents are determined solely on percentage of retail sales. Again, those are the short-term deals that we're talking about. Reluctance of national retailers to locate the mall. There are several that you would suggest that this mall is definitely a C, or even maybe less graded below that. On page 29, it's the acceptable cost of occupancy ratio survey. That's also from Mr. Corpaz. Looking at a mall classification as a C. The range of occupancy costs should be between 8.5 to 9. We are at 18%, so well above that acceptable occupancy cost range. So now that we are kind of demonstrated that this mall is a C mall, or even less, but we'll stick to that as a C mall. We move on to our capitalization rate and development and supporting data. Before we get into our income approach to valuation, we wanted to present to the board what we think is an appropriate cap rate for the property.
Just tell me, what was the difference between the assessor's cap rate and yours?
I was using a 17% cap rate. I believe the assessor was using 11.2%. To substantiate our position as far as what cap rate we use, we've already jumped to conclusions there, but we can go forward with how we came up with that. This is the Green Street profile on page 31 for you in the packet. Green Street says this is a quality grade B, but does not provide a cap rate. It's NA. So we don't know what Green Street determined is what the cap rate is from a property profile analysis that they've done.
As a sidebar, Green Street generally does on their more notable malls, ones that they plan to survive, they'll have a cap rate. This is one that they haven't taken the time to, and I really question when the last time they reviewed the mall to classify it as B, because none of the metrics, even under their own metrics, would qualify for a B. So we provide this because we want to have complete transparency of how we came to our number with both the assessor's office as well as the board.
They do on page 32, they do show cap rate land value. On page 33, we've utilized this is from Newmark. They also provide a mall classification parameter chart. If you look in column C, it pretty much identifies Quail Springs Mall. Inline tenant sales fall in 275 to 450. Occupancy cost range should be between 8 and 12. We're way above that. Their capitalization rate range is 14 to 20%. We've believed that taking the average between 14 and 20%, we've chosen 17%. based on this survey. On page 34, this is a more recent chart. This is national, Q1 2026, regional malls. This is also from Newmark, 18% going in cap rate for a Class C mall.
And when we look at these malls, again, because of the fact you don't find, 5 comps in your neighborhood, you really have to look at malls on a national basis.
Sure.
And then when people are buying and selling these, they really do start to go to that, what classification is it, what tier is it in, and they base their decisions on that. And that's why we rely so heavily on this. And I love the fact that we do provide multiple independent sources. These are not people that are doing appraisal on this. These are independent sources for people that are buying and selling these malls to support what our capitalization rate is.
On 35, another survey, this is Jones Lang and Sale. They also provide they call it a mall pricing criteria. We've chosen Class C, falls within the range of this tenant sales per square foot. They don't even give you a range. They say a cap rate over 15%.
How bad is it?
Yeah. On page 36, because Green Street did not provide a cap rate, they said it was just land value. We went ahead and pulled properties, using Green Street, pulled properties that have sold between January 1st, 2023 and December 31st, 2024. As you can see, there are I believe 6 sales comparables, but we're really using this as a depiction of what the cap rates were based on those sales, and these are the same caliber of properties.
Well, be careful there, Mike. They're not. They're B and C.
Yes.
And so this really that cap rate has been drugged down slightly by these comps.
And C pluses.
Yes.
And we're
Just to be clear here,
Yep. Thank you.
of course.
And we said the average sale price per square foot was $55.61 unadjusted, and then the average cap rate was 14.9. We'll say 15% from the sales.
Do you think you're gonna go through every page of this?
Well, we can. If
I'd really rather concentrate on the differences, the big differences between your valuation.
okay, I think really the difference comes in cap rate.
Yes.
As if we've kind of discussed cap rate and where we're coming through. Like I said, I'm just peeling back the onion here. But on page 41 is our income approach, and that's where I think we'll see, the maybe the difference of opinion between our value and the assessors. So what we've done here on our income approach is that we've provided different space categories that make up the parcel, and applied a gross market rent to each of those space categories, because you can't just apply one general rental rate across the entire square footage, because the food court has a different rate than tenants that are above 10,000 square feet. So we've kind of pieced this together for the board to understand, like, okay, these are rental rates that we're getting, recent leases that we're getting for these different space categories. And we've concluded a potential gross income of $11,800,225. We've taken 10% for vacancy. It's really a wash because we've also added 10% for other income, because we do get other income from different sources at the property. So we ended up with an effective gross income of $11,888,225. With that, we've adjusted our expenses to 30%. That's not including real estate taxes or bad debt. And we also included a management fee of 4% and reserves for replacement at $2 per square foot, which is supported by market information that is included in the appeal.
Just for a second, what did you put for your management?
On our management fee, we went ahead and used, let me find it.
Because the really differences that come with this are,
We used 4%.
that's a good, okay. Good, sorry.
No problem. And we ended up with a net operating income for this parcel, $6,900,000
$990,241. We've applied the base cap of 17% plus the load to account for the real estate taxes at 1.32% for a loaded capitalization rate of 18.32 for a total value based on the income approach, $38,149,500 rounded to $38,100,000 or $89.57 per square foot.
We do feel that when we made this income adjustment, you'll notice that our actual income closed out last year at 7.7 million. We dropped it by 11%. That's a trend that we're seeing, which is conservative compared to actuals. So we don't feel like we've overstated the change and projected NOI on a forward-looking basis. And then also, if you just compare where we ended up on an overall price compared to what properties are trading for, we're at just under $90 a square foot, while the market nationally for this Class C mall is running $55 a square foot. It's funny, I liked the statement the prior gentleman made. We're not asking for the moon and the stars here. We're just asking to have it realize of what the trend is for this mall and what the real market value is.
And then to support our rental rates, we did provide recent leases of tenants that have leased space at the property within the last 3 years by space category. So you can refer, how did you come up with your gross rent per space category? This is where it's coming in at. Apologize. On page 44, we also, the one thing you have to understand is it's very confidential as far as what leases we're getting at Quail Spring Malls because there's a lot of competition out there.
Yeah.
So we do have a mall. It's the Sooner Mall in Cleveland County, and we did provide what those lease rates are in addition to what leases have transacted at Quail Springs as well.
At Sooner, are your cornerstone tenants, are they not tenants like dealers and those? That wouldn't be considered part of the mall.
Right.
That mall is, you're really in decline.
Yeah.
But we can't consider that really because it's outside the county.
Understood, but that's because like you can't find leases of other lease rates of other malls because they don't disclose that because of competition between tenants.
So what we're providing to you, the board, is ancillary, secondary data, just for as reference.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to go down to Penn Square or Simon Mall, which is fully everything.
Yeah, Simon's kind of mopping the floor with us right now.
Yeah.
That's it. They're doing a good job.
Yeah,
They're doing a good job.
Right.
They're a good operator.
And you know the balance of the presentation is just additional support for everything that we've talked with you today.
So let's hear, Assessor, hit the highlights for I'm more concerned about the guys sitting back there. The highlights of your differential, because there's a big difference in your cap rate, even though your management rate, you ended up the same. Okay. Ready?
Thank you very much.
Sure.
That was a very good presentation.
It was a good presentation.
As has been briefly discussed, pretty much the biggest issue here is what type of mall is this, B or C? And that's really what the whole discussion is going to come down to. You've heard information about price per square foot, price, all this, very, very good presentation. Well, one of the things we have to remember too is in this particular part of the country is actual income of the populace is probably in the low 40s. So the average in all this is going to be lower because of the income that the general populace makes. Also too, I will go ahead and say that in our pro forma, that when we issued the pro forma, and there is a lot of data here, our pro forma, we used a 13 cap rate.
Oh.
We did use a 13 cap rate on that. And if you kind of look at our pro forma and their pro forma, where our pro forma is actually got a lower NOI by about $100,000. But the whole difference is the cap rate. If you take our cap rate and put it with their income pro forma, our number is good. If you take their cap rate, put it with our income form, their number's good. So it's basically coming down to, are we looking at a B or C mall?
Yeah.
We have a lot of information here. I would just want to mention on a pro forma, when you're talking a C mall, now you're starting to get a little nervous with income and such. Well, you would think if you would do a pro forma, you might want to make some adjustments. You may not be getting the same amount as reserves because your income is less. Your management fee may come down because we're both using a 4, but the average, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers for a mall, regional mall, is 3.38%. We both used 4. The average for reserves, 1.87, and we used, what did we use on that? 1.17, $1.71 a square foot, and the average is $1.87 a square foot, which is what they use. So the income is just all coming down to the cap rates. The whole issue is on the mall classifications. Newmark says dominant for Class B, dominant mall in a secondary market, or a number 2 mall in a major metro. We got 2 malls, pretty much 2 malls. When you go to the outlet mall down on 40, that's a whole different story. That's almost like a power center because it's not really a mall, as we're talking the old style malls.
Right.
So you really
What
can't.
we have in Midwest City is still, it's not considered a mall either, is it?
And I'm not familiar with that one, to be honest, because I'm still learning. Penn Square is one of the old style malls. Yes, it's run differently. But the whole issue is we're talking on the income, and that's pretty much how everybody's going to look at a purchase of the mall. The Class C on this says older centers in a secondary or tertiary market that have been outflanked by new competition. We have no new competition. We just have new market data. And as you know, everybody's having an issue with the market nowadays.
New competition, as in
Newer products. And in Oklahoma County, we really don't have any new products of this type.
right.
Because a lot of the new ones will take the place, and it's a new mall or it's a new thing. Well, I'm going to gravitate. We're going to go over here because it's nicer. We don't have anything. We have basically 2 malls that I know of that are very similar.
I think you might want to familiarize yourself with the Midwest City because
Okay.
it's the concept that they talked about first, about the village, the main street,
Yes,
that type of
lifestyle malls.
lifestyle.
Their
If you're
lifestyle
gonna-
malls are
129.
basically centered. They're separate buildings.
Yes.
Right.
You walk outside, they have nice little street lights and
And the outlet mall's a little bit like that. It's got a little
Yes.
bit of that, yeah.
not quite a mall.
But you,
Like
you
we're
should
talking
go over on 29th across from Tinker.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Well, and that's the reason I hadn't, because lifestyle malls are kind of,
They are different.
yes, they are different.
Really spread
And
out.
they'll probably have
You gotta
command a
get
little bit higher
hard
rents.
But they do dominate us for
Yes.
whatever reason. People are like,
Right,
I'm like you, it's like the parking is always a problem.
right.
But I think people miss that hometown.
Where is this Illinois mall you got in
Illinois, that's in one of the sales comps.
here?
Let me familiarize where that is.
Yeah. Go ahead, Assessor.
Not a problem. So when you come down to this, we have 2 malls. Is it investor grade A? No. Now the question is that we considered it a lower B mall, and they're considering it a C mall. Hence the cap rate difference. Cap rates are, as we've heard, can be on a C mall can be 15 to 18%. On a B mall, will be 11 to 14%. One of the things that we got from a property tax consultant, also RERC, which is another publication. They list that in the south part of the United States, a regional mall, their cap rates are even lower than what we've seen here for a tertiary 3rd tier. And we're saying that we're a 2nd tier. That range, actually the average of that going in cap rates just at a 10. So again, it's up to the board to determine whether a B, which our income approach at a 13 cap rate is as a B, their income approach is at a C type mall. We have 2. The question is, I think I heard that, and I might need to get clarification, is that in the heat risk map, you said 15 were eminently closing? Did I hear that correctly, or?
The reds, the ones that were coated in red.
Right. In the
Right.
heat map.
To be clear, if it's above 15%, they're extreme danger, and then there's another range that is imminent closure.
15% is 20, over 21, over 20.
Okay, so I guess from what I'm trying to say is I haven't heard that we have notices of individuals closing at this particular time. Even though the heat rep says they're in that group, I don't know if we have.
I don't know if this is an appropriate question, but what would you rate Penn Square at?
I haven't looked at the Penn Square income because as we've been talking about income and all coming in,
Right.
I would rate Penn Square probably as a B, maybe a B until I could look at something better. I'd probably rate it as a B minus.
Let me ask you, stores are also rated. And I remember when we've prior things, we've had like a Sanger Harris, and if you know what that is, that's a Texas store, and something else. Anyway, they always rated, even same stores like Macy's, Dillard's, but Penn Square at a B, and the Quail Springs as a C, or even a B minus. I don't know if they ever got to B's. And then there was a store, then this in Tulsa at Utica Square, they had B plus. Is there any correlation between the way the stores grade themselves and the mall?
Right, so better performing stores want to be in a better performing center, right? So you're going to get better national grade tenants at a mall that's classified as a B plus.
But it has to do with they don't have the same buyers, so even the quality of merchandise they would put at Quail Springs is not the same as the quality of merchandise.
You are 100% correct.
Yeah, I've done this kind of.
We see that with anchor stores like Nordstrom's.
Correct.
They even stock them. They're like you wouldn't find the same stuff at the same stores.
That's kind of what I was looking at the assessor on how he's
And
you kind of went flat on income for how you got to the C. How did you get to the B?
From last year to this year, the income rose just slightly.
Do you disagree with that?
NOI declined. Maybe gross revenue because we were doing, again, temporary stores. Our NOI is dropping. That's inaccurate. It is dropping. Our numbers show it. These are
it's in the
financials.
on page 24.
We're down 50.
It does outline what the NOI.
You mean
trend
from
is.
24 to 25?
Yes,
And
No,
the
I mean,
prior
and
year
the
dropped
prior
as
year.
well.
And you had it increasing slightly.
Maybe gross.
What we were showing is
I got to figure out we're gonna
our notice
hang
value.
this on our B's and C's, huh?
Our notice value increased slightly from last year to this year.
Their valuation did, yes.
Yes. And our income that we use to talk on the informal, using slightly lower, actually we're using approximately from the NOI about 100,000 less with our 13 cap, actually came out to a little bit under 53 million. We've kind of, the notice came out at 49 million and change. We've got it right. He's kind of bringing it up.
Yeah, 49,647.
Correct. So we kind of left it with the computer number, which was based on some sale data, some income data, instead of just looking at the actual, what we would use on our pro forma. So.
Can I ask, before I ask my question, because you haven't had a chance to really finish your presentation, are you going to make a recommendation to lower anything or increase that cap rate or anything?
As I'm working on it as we're speaking.
You're working through it?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then I'll ask my question. On page 33 from his presentation, and I don't know if you have a copy of that, but this is where he's showing what those cap rate percentages should be for the Class C and the Class B. And I don't know if you even agree with this documentation that he provided, but if you're saying that you're gonna rate this property as a B minus, then, and you used a 13% and the range was 11 to 18, then why wouldn't you go with a higher percentage?
Well, as I said before, now you have to look at the market that you're in. The market that we're in, we have our shall we say, average of income is lower than an average of somewhere else. So maybe we should be considered one step adjusted for when you look at the ranges. We have the mall. It's viable. It's working. It's in a very upcoming area. It does have potential. At this particular time, the way the economy is, as we all know, everybody, which I'm sure Penn Square and anybody else that has a mall all over, I'm sure they can testify that even other malls are still having issues with the lower Bs, maybe upper Cs, are still having issues with the economy on what's happening now. Everything's still going up. So we would consider this like a B minus. And to answer your question is yes, we would go ahead. I would look on from the presentation, from the data, a little bit of adjustment on the pro formas that were done due to the income that it is or isn't producing compared to other years. I would go ahead and on that, the notice value, there it is right there, was 49,647,000 and zeros after that. We would go ahead and recommend on that, adjusting that cap rate slightly. Well, my NOI is a little lower. We would be willing to offer on that a value of what's been presented, 46 million even.
And what based on what cap rate?
Well, on,
Did you do 13?
well, I'm looking at what was presented. If we want to go ahead and use, see, our income shows 52 million. Their income shows 39 million. We're very close, but on that particular one, I would probably, in the estimate, let me go ahead and see if I can figure it out this way. I was just taking all the numbers in my head. So we've got, let's see. About a 14.2, roughly, and I'll double check it using our NOI of 6,884,001. Let's see. Actually, it'd be a little higher than that.
The cap rate?
Yes.
You wouldn't adjust yours down any. I'm trying to get y'all close together.
That's about a 14.8 cap rate.
Okay. And that's where you would land at the 46.
Yes, it's actually a little higher. It's actually 14.8. I can probably say closer to 15. I'll get it closer because I was within, let's see. It's about a 14.9 if you want to get more closer to that.
That does not include the load, right?
That includes the load, yes.
So it's less. He's using a lower base cap.
I'm using a 14.9 and our pro forma was at 13.
What we're saying is, you know how you do the add back for the taxes to get the loaded? All of these studies are what these are trading for on the open market. They do not include the load for taxes. So we are being very.
So you think you're less? I mean,
Yeah, cap rate should be substantially higher. It should be 14 plus the tax load at least.
Of 1.3%.
Yeah, so that would put us at 15.4 approximately. And you look at the challenge we have is we're using independent studies across the board. We look at these nationally. We deal with them all the time. There is no metric. If you look at page 33, Newmark being one of the most recognized, nationally accepted open market traders or analysts for this class of property, there is no metric on this mall to put you in any range of the B malls. This is a C mall that's in decline. And that gap is massive. A B mall has a chance for life. Okay? Has a chance for life.
Oh gosh, you're gonna put them on oxygen.
Yeah, this is on a respirator.
Oh,
And like I said, that's why we have to say
from Amazon.
it's gotta be. There's just no metric that supports a B. It's just a C in decline.
Well, but what he did,
At least have loaded.
except he's within your range of C anyway, 14 to 20.
I understand that. 14 is your top mall, that's a C mall that may be, notice the C, that bottom B, look at the Bs are 11 to 18. The range for Cs are 14 to 20. If you look at our demographics, to the assessor's point, the average income here, the amount of spend people have is smaller than a mall that would get a 14% cap rate. You've got to take that risk.
The money here is tricky. Having lived in New York and done bond finance work in Chicago, let me tell you, the money here is real tricky. We look poor, but we're not quite as poor as we look.
All
You
I'm saying
agree,
is,
right? I mean, there's some money here.
but it's not going to
I
this
don't know
mall.
when you're leaving.
I don't think they're shopping at Quail Street.
Listen, I'm gonna give you, I'll tell you, I live less than a mile from Quail Springs and I drive to Penn Square to go to the mall.
To your, if this
What
was
the
a
heck, to be honest with you, I'm
Why
sorry.
you picking on my bacon? If this was a 17%, if this is a cap rate of 17, where would we be on the money? Where would we be
On
on
the valuation,
valuation?
just at a flat cap at 17.
Because I'm gonna
Okay.
say,
With the taxes?
I don't
Yeah,
wanna
Loaded.
Loaded,
17 loaded?
17 loaded with the NOI.
you guys you're like, you think this C needs resuscitation. And so you're almost making it irrelevant what the cap rate is.
We're still
In your
fighting.
mind, right?
We're fighting to save our tenants, honestly, because there is a recovery component to it as well. Any savings that we get is going to go first to the tenants that have contributed to the taxes.
That's a
Okay,
pretty
where
long
did you
term
go?
basis.
Where did you?
Yeah.
I have, if I may ask you
Yes.
too. When we were talking about cap rates, they had mentioned something on mine, if they loaded at 15.23,
Sure.
using their NOI, that comes out to 45,628,000.
Oh, that didn't help.
Wait.
Now, if we go ahead and use a 17 cap, that would come out to 41,119,000.
So he already.
That makes sense.
And I was at an adjustment to, if I remember correctly,
46.
46.
At 41 million,
Yeah.
we would be okay.
I don't know if you're willing to do that. Are you willing to do that?
I'm okay at 46.
We'll leave it to the board decision.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. You done?
With us.
Thanks for
So
your time.
you're gonna say 46 and you're gonna stay at 30.
Oh, appreciate it.
We'll
Your
leave
name?
it to the board.
Oh,
Mike Lima.
Thank you for your time and your
We
expertise.
work with Brian.
Yes, you did.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I've also worked with.
I used to, yeah, I
Steve
went,
Storr.
I used Chapman and Copeland when I closed my bonds.
Oh, he retired. Okay. All right. Well, good to meet you, and I'm sure we'll be.
Yeah, no
Continue
idea.
to hold on.
I spent the weekend at the Gold.
Yeah.
I just like taking the lunch and just pick your brain for a while.
Good old Chicago.
Spent a lot.
Oh, Bear County. Oh, we have two properties.
Okay, so we're gonna
We're
close,
getting-
North Star Mall.
we're gonna
And
close
Chelsea
the
Rock.
BOE
Yeah, those are
on
our two San Antonio properties.
42 and start
Yeah,
with.
Thank you for your time.
Well, nice to meet you. You have a card?
Yes.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
43.
Our time. Absolutely. Thank
He's
you.
got 44.
Who's here for Hassan Properties?
Thank you.
When you going home?
This afternoon.
Oh, you should go by 50th in Northwest Highway and look at the new place that's being built. Not Penn Square, the one on the other one. It's got where you see the Capitol Grill.
Yeah.
You go over there.
Oh,
Thank
Oh,
you.
go over
I
there.
just that Saturday, yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
All right,
welcome.
have the rest of your day.
Oh, sure. Come on. Okay.
All right.
We gotta get down there fair.
That's right.
Okay, we're opening the hearing on BOE 44. Hassan Properties, 4300 Charter Avenue. This is commercial and the account number is R149881000. Okay, let's see, let me get to what I have your evaluation.
He's at 2,200,000.
2 million, yes, and
Assessor started at 3,507,45, and even lower. But I'm not sure what he agreed to lower it to. I had saw two different amounts.
Okay, we'll hear from you.
This is the warehouse, office warehouse. There's no fancy things about it. It's like 10% office,
Okay,
90% warehouse.
okay,
No sheet rocks, no floors, just concrete floors,
yes,
everything cheap as possible.
okay,
And we bought it for 1.9.
I see that.
We spent 2.2 million or $200,000.
200,000. Okay,
So I think it's worth about 2.2. And I just come in with the two sales in the same neighborhood. There's for sale right now. Is $65 a square foot asking price.
okay,
That's on next street from us. And
Oh.
this is on South Meridian.
okay,
You can compare the location. South Meridian has got 34,000 traffic. Our street got 1,300 traffic. They're asking for $84 a square foot. And they have a showroom too.
you're just a big open,
Right.
yes,
Our office is 10%.
okay,
This has got this big showroom. Showroom's got walls, we got sheetrock, we got ceiling, we got floors. This is two I'm comparing.
you said that all of your remodeling was just basically to the
Oh.
exterior,
Yeah,
period,
just the walls outside.
okay,
It was deteriorated and condemned the building
oh,
because the walls was falling off.
I see,
What we did, we changed the bulb blocks on it.
okay.
What year did you purchase this property?
I'm sorry.
What year did you purchase this property?
24, May of 24.
For 1.9 million.
Yes. And every property on that neighborhood is $65 a square foot. And I got a few of them already given to you. $52 a square foot, $61 a square foot, $33 a square foot. This is a warehouse community,
Yes,
and there is no way it's $85.
a square foot.
At the end of the last fiscal year, were you fully leased?
No, when we bought it, the building was condemned, so
Okay.
we let everybody go. Right now, after we finish remodeling, we have 3 tenants out of 10, and one of them just moved out 1st of the May. So we got 2 left only.
But December 31st, you had 3 tenants.
Right.
Okay, we'll hear from the assessor.
Yes, morning. Yes, this property was purchased in 2024 for 1.9 million. And then there was a remodel done. We considered it a significant remodel. If you go to the notes again. And right there we have a new office area. It's a building 1 and building 2 remodel is completed, and they added a 99% remodel, meaning that they thought that this building was pretty much redone interiorly. So when you go, the evidence that they provided were 2 leases. One was at $13.20 a square foot, and the other at $12 a square foot. So I used $12.50. That is a little bit higher than market. I was able to find market at $11 a square foot. So I assumed a modified gross lease instead of a triple net.
Okay.
Modified gross leases do 10% reimbursements instead of 20 to 25 reimbursements for triple net. So the income approach, I also accounted for high vacancy by doing a lease up. So they used 40% starting vacancy for lease up. And the income approach indicated 3,315,100, which is about $80 a square foot. The comparable sales that I found actually supported a value of $102 a square foot. And there's one comparable sale that I wanted to take a look at. If you scroll down, I believe. Yes, so it's comparable sale number 2. It's the closest one to him. And I believe that you actually purchased this property as well
Yeah,
back
that's
in
my
2023.
property.
Yeah.
Accounting too.
For
And that's got the tenant like post office, Indian Nation Clinic. They've been there over 10 years and they're paying good money for rent.
Give me the,
And that's in Reno Street. That's got how many traffic?
what,
We're
what,
not talking about the charter for the 1,300 square.
this
traffic.
one here, his, give me the closest mile section for you.
is that his?
Yeah.
So it's just south of I-40 right there in Meridian.
The one on Charter?
Mhm.
Okay, and this one that you just talked about, where is it? Because he's talking
It's,
about.
It's to the north, I believe, on West Reno.
Well, that's not that far away.
Yeah,
But
it's
he's-
the closest comparable that we used.
Well, how do you respond to his talking about the difference in the traffic?
Well, the other one is on Reno. Reno Street is more traffic,
Mhm.
and my tenant over there is all national.
And did you, when you made your comparison, or you did your income, did you understand that he only had 3 out of 10 tenants?
Yes, I accounted for high vacancy by doing a lease up.
And
So with stabilized occupancy, he would be closer to the $4 million value.
Oh.
so what did you reduce it to in the informal? Because I have 2 different numbers.
From 3.6 to 3.3, I believe.
Yeah.
3.315, 100.
I don't understand why you guys are so far apart if you took the vacancy. Did you give him more of an increased value on his remodel than he's willing to have? Because that's all he did, is he took the 1.9 purchase price, the 300,000 cosmetic approach to the outside, and then just flat ended it at 2.2. That's one way of looking at it, but that's not the income approach, right?
Yes, that would be looking at it at a cost approach.
Okay.
Was there a permit on this?
Yes, I believe that there was, let me see if we can pull it up. Remodel for 300,000.
Which is what he said. So why did you show a 99% remodel?
Whoever did a visual inspection decided that it was a significant remodel.
Did they have any inside? Look at inside of it? Or just outside? As I said, we changed.
They said new exterior walls, concrete block, canopies, windows, and roof. They added a 75% remodel for that in March of 25. And they said that building 2 is still currently doing a remodel. They have also removed all exterior walls, only keeping the metal frame.
But could they really do all that for $300,000?
I'm not sure.
It's just
So I think that we
walls.
added over 700,000 value after it was all done. There was another note. We added a total of 1.8 million for both buildings, it looks like.
In remodel cost?
Yes.
Yeah, remodel value,
Yes.
because the cost we've determined is 300,000.
It's 300,000.
All right.
Did you provide any pictures of the internal?
No, I didn't know. But you can come visit. We didn't do anything inside the building. It's not 70% remodel. All we did put block walls on the outside. And it's block. It's the cheapest thing you can put in.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna meet on Friday.
Okay. And please consider this for sale already in the neighborhood.
Is this 26?
Yes.
I believe that's new evidence as
Yes,
well.
26.
Yes.
It's-
This was not shown in
we
the.
don't do 26. Okay, so
It's for
valuation,
sale right now.
yes, but that's 26. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna close the hearing on BOE number 44 and open the hearing on BOE number 45, which is it Kakariko Village? 2136 West Park Place. R0633403110.
The first one's here and the last one's out,
Sorry.
sorry.
Check counts.
Sorry, okay.
You know more about balls than you wish.
Okay, so the assessor started at 657,500 and went down to 575,000. You would like to have us set the fair market value at 520, is that correct?
That's correct.
And I've got that there was an appraisal for 520,000, but I don't have a date.
I mean, appraisal at 1.1 million, 523, we made it 23. No?
No, that's the other case.
Oh, yeah.
That's not it, this one. I've seen it, but no, I haven't. Don't you?
It's in the summer.
Oh, 125, sorry.
Sorry.
I have the summary page
120,
here.
yeah.
But it would have, the appraisal that came out that amount was for a closing that was done in August. The appraisal would have been in July, probably.
25?
July of 25,
Okay.
at the latest, August of 25.
I just didn't have the date. Okay, go ahead.
So, we purchased the lot in 2023 and constructed a duplex on the lot. We were very excited about the opportunity to build out there, and when we did the construction, we actually got a pre-construction appraisal at $620,000, which is aligned with our assessment of the area. We were really excited about that. We built the duplex, got it done in, I think, either late 24 or early 25. November 24, got our certificate of occupancy. This was our first venture into construction, and so there was a big learning curve for us. By the way, I'm Harrison. This is Daniel. Daniel, we're partners. He's also the realtor, licensed realtor, and did leasing. But when we got it completed, we decided it would be a better business move to try and sell the property because if we could capture that $620,000. Then it would really allow us to build more projects. And we really like this idea of building 2 to 4 units. So we marketed it for sale. Now, something that was verbally discussed with the assessor's office at the time, I have a written record that was sent to you guys. Now, I know you talked about like getting permission to use stuff that's new. I don't know if you count the written record of the MLS listing as new, but we did provide that because what we did is we listed it for sale and tried to capture that value. And we got nothing in 25, and we got hardly anything out of it. Now, we have some guesswork as to why, and part of the why could be that there is a church next door that is regularly feeding homeless there, which is fantastic, but is not phenomenal for real estate values. And so we did regularly have to vacate trespassers from the premises, and so we continued to lower the price, and that's what the MLS listing shows, is that we let it sit for a month, drop it, let it sit, drop it. After eventually, and getting into the summer, we dropped it, or I guess it was April is when we dropped it to $539, and it still did not sell. And at that point, we said we are not interested in selling for anyone.
This year or last year?
Last year.
2025.
Yeah, 2025. We were not interested in selling for lower than that, so then we proceeded with a refinance on the property. That's where that other appraisal comes from. So we are keeping the property and we're just holding it. But essentially our takeaway from this whole experience was, one, we understand where the assessors came up with their number, because originally we did too, but then we tried to diligently market this property for sale, and we just got kicked in the shins over and over again. Because, I mean, my best guess is it's the very hyper-localized area of that church. Maybe it's the surrounding properties, I don't know.
Give me your mile section.
So we are the major streets are 10th and Penn. We're on Park Place, pretty close to Penn.
We're 1 block north of the Salvation Army.
So, I look at that as a business error on our part, because we thought it was going to be worth a lot more than it was. And it just, when we tried to sell it, when we tried to get that value out of it, we couldn't. So then, of course, when we got the assessment value, it's like, one, I know why they came up with that value, but I also know we diligently tried to sell and couldn't. Now, as the sales and leasing guy, I'm gonna have Daniel talk about the numbers a little bit more, what you've seen.
Well, and this is, again, the county assessor had the same problem we had in finding comps. Their closest comp is 2.5 miles away. They have two comps that are both 2.5 miles away. One of those, their adjusted value is $522,000. So if you look at the closest comps, there's one there. The other four comps are over 8 miles away. So as a real estate person, I look at it and I say, if anybody gave me a comp that was 8 miles away in Oklahoma City, like I would. But I think that the reason why they had to pull those is because there just aren't a lot of duplexes that, so especially new construction duplexes. So then when I looked at the comps, I said, well, it's just going to be a lot of adjustments. Like you've got to do what you've got to do. And they adjusted for square footage. Their closest comp on square footage was 900 square feet less than ours. All of them were below our square footage, the closest. And so again, that's a big adjustment. But I looked for comps too, and the reason why I think the comps are really bad, but I think it's because there aren't any decent comps available. So there's no fault there. There's nothing there. But the one thing that I think really where things got skewed was when they adjusted for the neighborhood. They're adjusting up on every single neighborhood on their comps, and I think that our neighborhood is significantly worse. I don't know if you have the map,
I know where that
but
is.
you
I know where that is.
You know that area.
That's where the streets they've done some major construction. It turns this way, that way. You go
Yes.
kind of head out toward the fairgrounds, taking 10th Street West.
Park Place is between 10th and 11th Street.
Right.
And so, and again, I don't know
It's a
if
homeless area over there.
and I don't know if it'd be new evidence, but we also have all of the pictures of the shopping carts and the human pieces and the things like that we had to.
We'll concede that to you.
Okay. Thank you. That's like I have it, but I don't think anyone wants to.
I know the area.
But I think that because we are 1 block north of 10th Street, that if you're pushing a shopping cart, you're not going to push a shopping cart down 10th Street. And so where are you going to go? 1 block further north, that's a quiet residential area. And so we just get an outsized portion of all of that there. If you go across the street to the other side of Penn, you're south of the plaza, that's fantastic. I mean, if we could pick this up and move it, literally 1.5 blocks to the east, I think we'd be in a great position. Or if we could move it north of 12th Street even, I think that we would be looking at a really different area. 12th Street, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it has that median, it's divided, and that kind of serves as something of a buffer between 12th and 16th Street.
What was your construction? You gave us your pre-construction appraisal of 620, but what money did you actually have in this?
We had in it, do you know these numbers better than me?
Probably. So we GC'd it ourselves, so there's no GC fee included in this. It's $420,000.
Okay.
But that number includes 6 months of interest while it sat vacant while we tried to sell it. That number also includes things like the filing fee to file the LLC.
Oh, sure.
I mean that includes other things.
Total cost, literally.
Yes. And so if you factor all of that out, when we're using the numbers that we're using to project what we're working on right now, it comes out to just a smidge under $400,000 is what we look at as our real cost to buy the land and construct it. The purchase price was I think $63,000.
Somewhere in the mid-ish 60s.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear from the assessor. I know why he's going to say he had to go as far away as he did.
Again, I wasn't the one that did the informal, but I do agree that the comps are a little bit, like you had mentioned, trying to find comps are crazy impossible, but the 8 miles away comps don't kind of sit too well with me. I did read our notes. This is the first full year of it being occupied. Yeah. I would say there needs to be some more sales as time goes on to where we can probably maybe support a higher value, but I say at least for this year, I will recommend we put them on for $520. We'll honor their appraisal value. Now that may be for like $520 this year, but next year when there's more sales, we may have more to go off of. But I say for at least this year, we can put you on for $520.
Or would you take into consideration their rent for next year?
The rent is $1,849 on the top unit, and the downstairs unit is a little bit more than that, but we provided some other amenities to entice a tenant to move in there. So we had purchased for them refrigerator. We purchased a washer and a dryer for them and other things like that.
Would you be amenable to his offer at 520?
That's
you're
what he
interested
said.
in?
Yeah, we're fine with that. And going forward, I'd say that's fine, but I just wouldn't want to be back here again next year. But because the adjustment for one of these.
But he can't make a promise.
No, I understand that. But I mean, we're adjusting up on all of those.
But you, honey, you better take
neighborhoods.
that 520.
We're absolutely fine with that.
So, I move by mutual consent that we set the fair market value of this property for this year at $520,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Sorry you had to sit there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's never
Get
a
your
waste if
way.
you're learning something.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Maybe I'll go
Nice
up to 12 Springs Mall and buy something.
Yeah.
We're also a mile
Then you
away.
make me feel bad.
Oh, man.
All right, I'd like to move that we adjourn. We're okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You mentioned that